Hej, siemaneczko, z tej strony Jointplay Gameplay w kolejnym odcinku. Tu jest ciszej kolega, bo mi tu nie przeszkadzał. Albo wyłączę... Wyłączę skipę, nie? Wyłączę skipę, dobra.
Ja cię muszę do psychiatryka.
Bo to jest nasze... A to mi towarzysz. Elex przeszliśmy na haksach. No powiem, że chyba to źle zrobiliśmy. Bo poziom się zwiększył. A ja nie tego chcę. Chcę tylko po prostu, żeby się zmniejszył. Broni nic nie mam.
Hey, you.
Let me guess. I'm not allowed into the upper quarter?
What? No, everyone's allowed to move about freely here. I just have a question for you. You got here recently, right? I just want to know what things are like outside the dome. What's going on up there? Are the Albs attacking?
There are raids, but there have been no major assaults recently.
I'm sure that's just the calm before the storm. I just hope the dome holds. There's a lot of people depending on this dome of mine, so they pass us by like a river around a rock. Kalan gave us the knowledge, and now look what we've achieved. A safe harbor for all people. The clerics and Ignidons say we've strayed. I say we've found the true path.
You built the dome?
I designed the plans for it, then we built it together. My name is Eric, by the way. Chief engineer here in the dome. I'm in charge of all the generators and technicians who oversee them.
Why don't the clerics have a dome like this in Ignidon?
The dome requires immense amounts of energy, and the fluctuations in it have to be constantly balanced. The technology is complex. That means there's no way to cover the Hort with a shield like this. Besides, the cliffs around Hort give it a natural protection.
I have a forged ID for you.
Are you trying to get me angry? Let me guess. Gregor, the dome guard, sent you. I told him 1,000 times I'm not responsible for these things. Alois is the city's supervisor. You should report such matters to him. Go on, go and play Gregor's messenger boy.
I will take the ID to Alois.
Ah, no, it's all right. It's all right. Just give it here. I'll take care of it. Shit, I'm sorry I bit your head off. It's just I've got enough to deal with without getting bogged down in the petty stuff. But Gregor keeps sending me every task he comes across. If there's trouble with the generators or the dome, then I'm your man. I have enough to deal with without counterfeit passes or toilet breaks for guards or shortages of hinges in the West Quarter. Still, that's not your problem. Thank you for bringing me the pass. Please take your reward for honorable service to the dome. I'll check to see who this ID was customized for. Then a suggester can take care of the rest. Deceit like this can only lead us to uncovering a greater lie.
Can this dome survive an Alb attack?
Of course. Why do you think we built it? As long as we can maintain a constant energy flow, then they can't get in. Unfortunately, achieving that isn't so easy. Some of the energy regulators are starting to malfunction again.
Malfunctioning energy regulators sound dangerous.
Of course they are. Outside of frying yourself if you try to adjust them. If we were attacked right now, the whole dome would go critical.
About the broken energy regulators. I will help you with the energy regulators.
I wanted to do it myself, but do you really think you could handle it? So, let's find out who you are. You should go to Ignadon one day. You could be a good cleric. Yeah, I know, I left Ignadon behind, but they could offer you better training than I could. I have the energy regulator here. Please, take it to Lutz and help him to install it. Come back to me when you're done.
About the How many energy regulators are broken?
Well, all of them. I've sorted replacements where I can. But Lutz hasn't received his yet.
What will happen if they aren't repaired?
If just one regulator fails, it could mean an emergency shutdown for the dome. Otherwise, the discharge it would create could kill a whole lot of the people the shield is supposed to be protecting. But whether it's a discharge or an emergency shutdown, both scenarios would see us defenseless.
Am I crazy, or is our generator power fluctuating?
Myślę, że
The V-series was never very reliable.
myślę, żeby zrobić tę misję od niego.
Keep your hands off my machines. Any accidents are gonna be dangerous for me, you, and the whole city. The energy regulators are screwed. The surge gauge is failing and I can't see why. And now the shield profiler is returning a really strange set of values. Altogether, that makes for one dangerous set of problems that could fry both of us if the wrong bit of kit gets jolted. And I'm the one who has to fix all this. Ah, shit, I can't even sort out the replacement parts until I have this stabilized.
Eric sent me.
Thank Kalan. Do you have the energy regulator?
Yes. Here.
Perfect. That looks great. Thanks. Thanks for getting that. I'll install it immediately. You better get back to Eric. You can tell him I'm putting it in right now.
No w sumie to jest fajne, bo chłopie na posyłki właśnie o to mi chodziło.
there? Hey, who's there?
This is private property. Why did you wake me up?
Lutz has the energy regulator.
Good. The dome should be more stable now. I thank Kalan for sending you.
Co?
What are you doing?
What are you doing here?
Ja już idę, przepraszam.
What's going on?
Porozmawiajmy. W sumie to muszę się przespać.
You better leave everything where it is.
What is it you want?
Who are you?
You first. Come on. Who are you? There is something that is familiar about you, but I can't quite place it. No matter, I suppose. All people are welcome in Abessa, as long as they are prepared to forget their past. Even elves are allowed in here. I think elves would be perfect people if they weren't so emotionless. But then, that is why they are the only faction I have never belonged to.
What do you mean? You mean you want to become an elf?
That's a long story. If you're really interested in my tale, then I will tell you, of course.
My personal quest is to discover more about Magalan and the people who live here. I would like to know more.
There. Shall I tell you then?
Let me think about it. Tell me your story. How did you end up joining the clerics?
Right. I'll give you the full version. Well, the short version of the full version.
Just get on with it.
Okay, I'll try to keep it short. So, I grew up in Goliad in Edan. My father and mother were both born berserkers, and so that meant I was too. Back then, Bajar ruled over Goliad. As a child, I had no interest in the laws, of course. But when I was about 12 years old, one of the warlords came to our home. He took my parents, and I was left on my own to survive in the city. I remember him. I remember my parents leaving. And I remember me screaming. But everything else is gone. It's just a blur.
What happened to you after your parents disappeared?
It was hard. My parents' house was taken, so I had to run errands to earn a place to sleep. I helped out in the fields to earn food. When I was older, I also went out hunting. It was tough, but I was happy not to be in Goliath anymore. When I was old enough, I must have been around 19 years old then, finally I ran away from Goliath. Why was I punished for whatever my parents did? Why wasn't I told what had happened? I swore never to return, and I haven't set foot in Edan again.
go?
Wherever I needed to survive. That meant running from reavers and wild animals. It didn't take long for some reavers to take me captive. And then... I don't want to talk about that. I was lucky, though. After several years, the reavers were attacked by some of the Duke's outlaws, and they took me back to Tavar. I learned how to fight, how to live off scrap. Life wasn't much different from Edan, but there wasn't the same raptor shit. The laws. You could be who you were, and no one judged you.
Then why didn't you remain with the outlaws?
Because the reavers who'd taken me captive came to the fort and wanted to speak to the Duke. I think they wanted to take me back. I fled when they saw me. I didn't want to be taken back, or for them to kill me to hide their crime. When I left the fort, I ran into a cleric patrol. They convinced me to go to the Hort with them. Not that I really needed that much convincing. All those hours taking scrap apart and putting it back together in Tavar really paid off there. The clerics recognized that I was good with technology. So, I've been working on mechs and AI systems since then. Building things. Trusted. Part of
To
a team.
super.
And it's easier being with mechs. They don't judge anyone. They treat everyone the same. Like this place. I know it's not perfect. But outlaws, berserkers, clerics, even elves are seen as people. At least that's the vision. Not always the way it happens. That's another reason to maintain these mechs. To protect what we have here. Well, I hope you find your place in the world. It's good when you do.
Zmawianiem.
What are you doing here in Abessa?
I take care of the mechs and drones here in the city, which means I coordinate and plan their maintenance and upgrades. When I'm lucky, I get to roll up my sleeves and do some of the actual maintenance, which I'm having to do quite a lot with all the technicians we're missing. Say, are you good with technology?
I know the basics.
Unfortunately, that wouldn't be enough, I'm afraid. We don't really have time to train people on the job. Not if they're not going to stay here for good. And you don't look the type for that. On the other hand, if you're looking for some part-time work, I could still use your help. I have 4 people I've been told I should look at for taking the technician's job, but I don't have time to gauge their abilities. Would that be something you could do for me? I'd pay you.
Yeah, I'll talk to your candidates.
Great. The 4 names I have are Daryl, Naira, Rorik, and Riley. Though I'm really not sure about Riley. There's something about him I don't trust. But speak to each of them and let me know whether you think they might have the right skills and abilities for the job. Oh, and I'll need you to let me know about their loyalties. You know, can they work with clerics? Do they hate us? We'd be trusting them with the mechs and AI that defend the Dome City. So I don't want to employ anyone who might still be thinking about their faction, not our security.
About the...
Yes?
Tell me about Naira.
Naira is an Alb separatist, so a bit of a long shot for loyalty. But she should have the technical ability we need. She's somewhere in the west of the city with the other separatists, in the slums.
You want to employ a separatist as a technician?
We need someone, and I don't think your faction always says who you are. Albs are usually very good with technology, but you're right. I don't know if we can trust her.
Tell me about Daryl.
Daryl is an outlaw. He's applied to be a technician, but I don't know why. So I want to know his motives and what his technical experience is. I'm hoping you can get that information. If he's skilled and trustworthy, then employing him might show that we do trust outlaws here. But I don't know that much about him. I don't even know where to find him.
What do you know about Rorik?
Rorik is a berserker. I think I last saw him somewhere around Vito's pub. It might seem weird to consider a berserker, but I was one once. And I know Rorik used to work extracting Elex from machines in Goliath, so he knows about technology. And I think I could teach him everything else that he needs to know. And it would show that we were reaching out to the berserkers who have come to the Dome City. Their magic is very powerful, and they're strong warriors. We will need their help if the Albs attack us from Zakor. But it'll be important to find out if he's prepared to have anything to do with technology before we think of offering him the job.
No i teraz znalazła się praca teraz.
So, you come here from Goliath?
Goliath? No.
Huh. What do we have here? Fresh meat?
Well, it's pleasant to meet you as well.
Pleasant to... Are you mentally stable? How did you get the guard to let you into the dome? I'd watch out. They're probably trying to recruit you. You wouldn't be the first to come here looking for shelter only to end up bowing down to Kalan. However you got in, you're going to find it even harder to get out. The clerics are a little jumpy at the moment. You might say paranoid. So, when they do let someone in, it does make me wonder who they are and why the clerics thought letting them in was a good idea.
If it's so hard to get in, what are you doing here?
I got in before things got so paranoid. And I came here for profit, of course. Lots of nervous people close to the Albs tend to be willing to invest shards in their safety, you see. And getting hold of supplies is hard out here. So, if you can get them, you can sell them for a high price. Well, that was the plan. Now, the clerics have stopped me trading and cut off all the supplies.
And you just let them do that?
Of course I didn't let them. But getting around their ban isn't simple. It's impossible to get by the guards without an ID card. And they took mine from me as part of their crackdown. Now they say I'm causing trouble. But what else is a businesswoman supposed to do when she has her business taken from her?